Microphone check. Microphone check. Therapy Without a Degree. Chapter, I believe we're at chapter 193. Chapter 193 episodes. So we are here. I have to the left of me, hopefully, when this uploads, I have Zane. He's in the city somewhere. And then below him, we have Natalie. She's in space. What up, Nat?
Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, Nat.
Sorry. Also in New Jersey somewhere.
we got to get y'all back in the studio. What do I got to do to get y'all back in the studio?
I'm going to have to cook for everybody.
We live 20 minutes. We live 20 minutes from each other, yo. The guests are probably like, huh? Like, where do y'all must live like different states?
I'm in Jersey City right now. That's where I'm at.
Nah. I could go. Yeah, he probably called me like, nah, man, I can't make it in person. I'm in Jersey City. Like, no, it's just the background.
We gotta get what my camera bag, my luggage bag looks like. It's insane.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but I'm gonna start having to like bribe y'all. I'm gonna be like, Nat, what do you like? What's your favorite like snack or something?
Oh, that's a good question. Damn. All right. I really like coconut macaroons.
Coconut what?
And chocolate. Macaroons. They're like balls of coconut flakes. And then they're dipped in chocolate. It's really good. I don't have any with me, but they're so good. I'm gonna buy some so that way we can share. They're a pack of 4. And so we'll just mail some to Jason. We'll do one each.
Yes.
Like a single chocolate maroon coconut maroon.
With coffee, it's so good. I know you're all coffee drinkers.
Because Jason, I give you a break. All right, you're in Oklahoma. I get it. You can't be here, but them two, I gotta fuck with them because they live 20 minutes away. All right.
I would too.
But you understand. But what up, Jason? Man,
an hour for my podcast every Saturday. I get it.
Ooh, you travel an hour every Saturday?
Every Saturday. Hour each way for my podcast.
That's what the fuck I like to hear, man. That's dedication.
Therapy.
Give me a pound, man. That's that's what we need, yo. How do you do it? I
love it, man.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing my podcast, and I mean, this is important to you, right? So the things that are important to you, you make the time for, right?
Preach. Somebody needs to put that on a shirt.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. And I see you're repping the shirt. That's what's up.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Word, man. So you're from where in Oklahoma?
It's central Oklahoma, just east of Oklahoma City. It's a small suburb.
Okay.
I usually don't tell people exactly what city I'm in.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I know, man. I heard you're blowing up on TikTok. I heard they're probably looking for you. It's all right, man. We won't say. But just Oklahoma, all right?
Yeah.
Word. You never know. Maybe we'll venture out there one day. Maybe we'll do a road trip.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Word. We got me and this guy. We got Zane. We're gonna go out. We're heading out. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, we are headed out tomorrow on Wednesday. We are headed out to LA. So we're going to go to Los Angeles. I kidnapped this guy pretty much. I just called him. I said, yo, I bought the ticket. It's Spirit Airlines. You just got to go. He complained.
No, he didn't say Spirit first.
I didn't tell him.
No, he just said I got the tickets. And then after the transaction went through, I was like, just curious, what airlines was it?
He's like, also Spirit Airlines.
Also Spirit Airlines. What?
I like that style.
See, that's how you gotta do it, man. You just gotta buy the tickets. You just gotta. We
right.
out. We out. Nat, you're next. I'm just gonna be like, nope, that's it. We out.
That won't work with Nat. She's just gonna send you money. Say I'm not coming, but thank you.
Thank you. Anyway, but what have you all been doing, Jason? Man, tell us about your weekend. It's Monday. How was your weekend, man?
I had an amazing weekend. It was sunshiny here all weekend, a little bit of wind, but drank a little bit. Saturday night, I like to have a few drinks in the garage, listening to music, had a few people over. It was just a real relaxing weekend.
Okay. Dope, man. I have to look up where Oklahoma is because I am like very ignorant to that. I have no idea. What state is next to Oklahoma?
We are directly above Texas.
Oh, okay, got it. I was trying to like visually try to figure out where y'all at. Okay, dope, man.
Our joke here is Kansas blows and Texas sucks, so it's real windy here.
That's a good one.
that is funny. Zane, what about you, man? What'd you do this weekend?
This weekend? Oh, it passed. Jesus.
Yeah, today's Monday. Happy Monday.
Oh man. I can't remember what I did. I think I was mostly just chilling. Actually, I had 2 photo shoots on Saturday. Sunday, I was just chilling, watching movies all day, and then Friday, I think I had a shoot that didn't come. Oh yeah, the shoot that didn't come.
Yeah, Friday you had 2, right? And then Saturday there was a no-show.
Yeah.
So basically, he got forced to hang out with me.
Right. No, Friday was no show. That was the day I was with you.
Ah, okay.
And I was just chilling with Jill.
Word. Nat, what about you? What'd you do this weekend?
Well, I was off on Saturday, and I love my family time. I love it. I had my mama over. I made some dinner. I had these kids running around my house like, chickens without heads. So I love it. I love having my house feeling full, even if it's just, the 5 of us in it. So that was my weekend. Cause Sunday came and, work days for me are like breakfast and you get home and you go to sleep. So it was cool. I've been working late nights. So, I got some home cooked meals and I totally enjoy those, especially for those late nights.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, as long we all staying busy, but like I said, you still got to find that me time, in between, Yeah,
absolutely.
This weekend, all I've been doing is I was working on this script. I was like, I had to finish this script this weekend. I made sure I was procrastinating a little bit. So I said I had to finish that. So I told like Val and everybody, I was like, don't come here. I think the only one allowed here was Zane. And that was it. I was like, I gotta just get this done. And hung out with Princess, hung out with my dog. So we did that now. So I know we got like 2 topics. So the way we do it here, Jason, we'll just probably, dive into these 2 topics, these things that we're going to, dissect, give our perspective on. And then I have questions about you, man. So we'll get into this. Also, just a heads up, because Zoom usually be hating on us, they might, and I was on here a while before Natalie, and then it might give me a time limit. So it might say, oh, you got to cut it off. So we'll cut it off. And then in about 5 minutes after I save all the files, I send another link out. All right.
Okay.
That's it. If it cuts us off, sometimes we work around it. We'll see if I jinx that or not. But Zane, what was that topic you sent to the chat? I was dying laughing, especially because you sent it in all caps.
Oh no, that was just how when I copy and pasted it. That's exactly how it happened. So pretty much the topic is pretty is. It's really not so much a topic. So
just a reaction.
What happened was, it was more like a reaction. So this guy respectfully declined a lady, and then her response was she questioned his sexual orientation, and so it begs the question as like, if men don't want to engage, or they like, it's cool, I'm not interested and whatnot. That response is really toxic just in general. It's like no different than like, oh, you ugly anyway type of thing. But to question someone's sexual orientation just because they rejected you is kind of out of pocket. So that's like what the topic is like. That was pretty much it. Like, how do people feel about scenarios like that where you respectfully decline someone? And this is coming from a male perspective. And like, what do you think the response is to that? Like what would be the appropriate response in that situation? To be honest.
Yeah. Jason, you got anything, Nat?
So I'm clear on the you want to know what the appropriate response is if somebody is coming on to you and you're not interested. Is that what you want to know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, because you said the guy gave a respectful decline. I mean, I get messages every single day from women on TikTok that I have no interest in, and I'll usually just let them know that, look, you live here, I live here. It's not, or if they live in the city, if they live right here close to me, I'll say, look, I'm just I'm not feeling it, I'll tell them something nice. But if they want to question my sexuality because I'm not into them,
right.
I mean, I think that's a little out of line.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. So it's out of line. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like it's just disrespect. I feel like it's condescending, to just assume something like that as if, you know, by some virtue of being a man or a woman, somebody is inclined to feel attracted to you. Like, nobody owes you their attraction. You know what I'm saying? And so it feels like an assumption of, well, why don't you like me? You should like me, you know? And I just don't like that kind of thing. You know, especially even like if it's flipped, like just like, you know, Phil said, I think it's important to see that the same perspective as well. How many times, oh, you're ugly anyway, or, well, you know, I'm not interested, in this very disrespectful way. I don't know. It feels very immature to me, you know?
I agree.
Like, okay, I would have lost
immature.
you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's you're not needed.
Yeah. That's what
I can't imagine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You good, Jay? Yeah, you good.
I just cannot imagine, you know, a man, if the roles are reversed, if I came onto a woman and she respectfully declined, and for me to say, oh, you must just not like, if you don't want this, you must just not like men.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty conceited.
Right.
Exactly.
So that just and I feel like it's like certain cases where it's just it builds this kind of societal pressure. It's like, all right, so that means I'm always supposed to say yes to any woman that comes to me.
Right. Exactly.
It's completely immature, just like what Nat said. It's very, very immature, and it also kind of like shows you how, I guess, maybe some of the, like, how could you even think to even say that? Like, what do you think? A guy is just supposed to just sleep with any single woman, like, just because she looks good, or just because you look good, or just because you're a woman, or just because you're offering
you just might not be their type. You might find yourself attractive, and many men might find you attractive, but there's plenty that might not, that they're into something else. And honestly, it's our prerogative to be with somebody that we're physically attracted to, and to be able to, you know, say, you know what, I'm not really that into this or that. It's like somebody saying, well, you know, I'm not really that into short hair. I like women with longer hair, whatever. It's a preference.
Right.
It doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, especially, you know, in cases like that, I mean, it costs nothing to just move on.
I have done several TikTok videos recently on kind of this topic, as what you were just saying, that everybody has a preference. Therefore, no matter who you are, there's somebody that thinks that you're attractive. It may not be that person, but there's somebody, because you are going to be in their preference.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, yo, at the end of the day, if that shit happens, remember, you know, I always try to tell people it's all about a perspective shift. So it's like on the other side, if like someone is feeling some type of way because a female or a woman said that to them about that, yo, they should be happy, because obviously you're getting to see their true colors first. You know, like, wouldn't it suck if like you did say yeah, and then later on something else happens? Because if that happens to that, so many other things are gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a huge toxic personality trait that, you know.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it feels like a red flag, to be honest with you.
Right.
You know, it feels like
especially from the jump. And then what's the response? Like, yeah, like I do. Like I'm interested. Where do you go from there?
That would be kind of, I'm not gonna lie, that would be kind of funny. Like,
right? Like, where do you go from there? Like, all right, like it's like someone who agrees, like, well, I'm not. And it's like, oh, well, you ran out of things to say? Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where'd you get that from, Zane? You saw that was on like one of those memes or something?
No, it was on YouTube.
Okay, word.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, when like the sidebar and whatnot. So while it was going down, I saw something and I was like, hey, let me copy and paste this headline. And I said I thought that'd be a great topic to talk about.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind extending this out a little, because it's a topic that has been brought up to me through TikTok, and I've seen a lot of videos about transgender people. There's been some transgender people that were offended that a transgender woman wanted to go out with a guy. He wouldn't date her because she was transgender, and he said, I'm just attracted to biologically born females. And so he got a lot of hate for having that. They called him a transphobic. And
yeah, that's a really important topic. You're right.
I did another couple of videos on that topic saying, look, it doesn't mean he's transphobic. I mean, he may be just fine with you. There's plenty of guys that don't mind dating a trans woman. It's fine. I don't care if that's what a guy likes, but it's not for me either. I'm not transphobic. I'll be friends with a trans woman, but I don't want to date a trans woman. It's just not for me. It doesn't make me less than. It's just not my style. It's not what I'm attracted to.
Right. And I think so. Here's what I keep explaining to people is just like, if you're attracted to a person, why force a transaction, an attraction that is gonna slowly, decay, and then nobody's gonna be happy. Because when people say, I've come across that before, where it was just like, oh, you don't like me because I'm blank. I was like, no, I just if it's not going to turn me on, then this interaction is going to be pointless. That's pretty much what that is. And then you're not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. And then we're not, no one's happy. So if the person lets you know from the jump, I'm not interested, then you'll find someone who is. Don't force it because you want the person and you want them to accept you. I feel like people get that skewed, and you're right. It's like, yeah, I don't have a problem with you. So if I don't like you, if I'm not attracted to you, then don't try to force that attraction and call me names and saying that I'm this. Like, where's that gonna go? So you it's like someone who says, I'm not into it's like, oh, I'm not into men. It's like, you're not gonna force them to be into women. It's the same conversation. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, I think that applies in a lot of directions, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, I think we all have potential to fall in love with especially as we grow and as we change. You're going to find the different things attractive. The things that you might have find attractive as a teenager, and those things that may have shaped your sexuality, may be different, from that point to when you're in your 30s or in your 40s or in your 50s. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to grow and you're going to have different experiences, right?
Right.
So I do think, and kind of going back to, because I do think this is kind of, I guess, where, our freedom to choose who we choose to, love and all of those things falls in line with this and this bodily autonomy, this thing of bodily autonomy, and kind of choosing what we're choosing to do with our bodies and who we engage with, right, with our bodies, who we decide to have sex with. And it is important because at the same time as well, there's a level of informed consent in that, right? Like, okay, like if I prefer to be with these kind of people, or I prefer to be with that, by all means, as long as there's no, I think for me, the most important thing, as long as there's not violence associated with, turning somebody away, I think that it's okay.
Agreed.
I think that when, there's people that may turn it into like a violent action, for example, which I think could be on in any direction. You know what I'm saying? It could happen from women or it could happen from men. It doesn't matter. But I mean to say these are human interactions. But I think if, you can approach a situation, especially I think if you're in the dating scene and, if we're having regular dates or, if we're even texting, things like that, especially I think in the form of like, social media, why not tell those things? Even if you're like, you yourself are like, hey, there's something, maybe I'm like really tall, or maybe I'm hairy. I don't know, like something weird, I guess, that you can throw out there that's part of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you put it out there, and then guess what? Those people that are not into it are not going to hit you up. You know what I'm saying? Like then it kind of is a little bit more, filtered. That's not to say that you're going to have people here and there that might be, might not have read or might not have known and are like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm not really into X, Y, and Z. I prefer this. So yeah, as long as there's no violence or kind of like hateful, I think, words directed at somebody meaning to almost be condescending, I think it's okay. I honestly, I can't really find something wrong with that.
I think I think people try to force it, or not even force it. They try to kind of like inquire about it or try to get the person to see the other side, because they don't realize sometimes how deep to some people it matters about affection. And also they don't understand that sometimes it takes people time to love, or even takes time for people to want. Because initially I think that they think they know who they are, right? Like they know who they are. Like if it's a, trans woman or whatever the case is, like they know who they are in their heart. So they're like, oh,
yeah,
why wouldn't you look past that? You know what I'm saying?
But again, I think that there's more leeway when you're actually in attraction with this person. Do you get what I'm saying? Like for example, like I personally, I'm not, genitals don't necessarily matter. Like I'm not thinking about what's in somebody's pants. For me, it's not really important. Whether for romantic relationships or sexual relationships, for me, it's not particularly important. But there's other people for that thing, that sexual satisfaction and that kind of compatibility is incredibly important for them. Do you get what I'm saying? And even I think for some people, even certain sexual acts might be in their mind of disgust, or just be like, I'm not into that. I wouldn't really try it. I don't really have a curiosity even to. And I think that's okay, because, flipping it back, we have to know our particular boundaries and know the things that we're willing to go or willing to do with our bodies and the way that we're going to engage with people. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to, respect yourself, you got to respect other people too in the process of it. And I don't find that wrong.
Yeah. And just people got to remember that it's like not everyone has the same thing as you, not everyone, like, because some people, attraction could matter nothing. You know what I'm saying? And some people can matter a lot. So you have to remember, kind of like, how we always talk about like the 4 love languages and all that. It's just like another thing. Like some love language is really, really important to this person. Some isn't. I think the same goes as far as attraction. And a lot of times, that person's like, oh, damn, like I know who I am. So it shouldn't matter. So they try doing these different things, but it's like, like attraction may be really high for them, or something may be really high for them, and you can't force that. That's something that I think you have to learn with over time.
No, for sure. Because I think that there's like, you can be accepting, but you can also choose to not engage sexually with somebody, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? You can be accepting and choose to not engage romantically with somebody, or even choose to have some type of negative interaction, with someone. It's like, like these interactions can be pretty simple. Okay, all right, you know what? That's cool. I'm not into that. No problem. Maybe somebody else will be. That's fine.
Right.
It takes two. And wouldn't it be more appealing if we're both into each other? You know?
I know I'm not interested in being with somebody who doesn't genuinely want to be with me.
Indeed.
If they don't want me just as bad as I want them, I'm probably not that into it.
For sure.
I'm going to lose interest.
Agree. I absolutely agree.
Word, I feel that. Zane, anything else with that topic? What you got?
No, that was it.
So the topic that I had for everyone was, it was funny because I shared something to my IG story, and then shout out to Dejour, host of the Kickback and Chill show. He always kind of like interacts with me about like real estate and like financial stuff that I put up, and it's really interesting because I guess he's like really, really engaged in that type of stuff. And the post was about, it was the minimum wage thing, about the $15 an hour, and they were like, well, don't be mad at someone getting $15 an hour, like you should be happy for them, and then you should go ask for a raise or go get a better job or something like that. Like, you should be getting paid more. And then it kind of brought into that conversation of like, I think for most of us, I think we kind of forget or not even realize how much we really should be making. And a lot of times we don't want to be like that, especially like, Jason, I don't know how you feel when it comes to that, but it's like, I know, definitely how Zane and Natalie feel. Like we don't really do a lot of things for the money. We do things on how we feel, how it makes us feel, if it makes us feel happy, typically, but obviously also it's, for the money as well. But that's genuinely, it's really just, that's not the main number one thing. And then I think when a lot of people are like that, or even just people, even if you don't have those ideologies, you're not usually typically always worried about the money. You're worried about if you enjoy the job, all those different type of things. Or even if you are thinking about it for the money, I think you don't realize, I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of money that we should be making, you know? Because like the way we were talking about it was like, he was like, yo, $15 an hour in Manhattan, like people can't even survive off that. You know, you can't survive off $15 an hour. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's going to be different by the state because every state has different needs. Every people, you know, at the end of the day, you got to talk to the people and ask them what they need in different places because that's going to be different, you know, based on what their jobs are, based on all of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's just, I was like, it's also something even me and Zane talked about recently. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we've had the conversations of it, and it's even conversations that I try to have with myself, because we always can get kind of like, we get used to it. You know, like you know, like when I was 17, you know, who knows what the minimum wage was? I feel like it wasn't too far off from what it is now. I feel like it hasn't changed much, you know? And it was like, I remember I was 17 and I was making like $350 a week or $450 a week. And that was like really good for that age. I was making tips and I was making really good money. And then it's like, even now, like you talk to some people who are making minimum wage, $7 an hour, $8 an hour, and they're making, you know, $300-400 a week. And we get used to that, right? But like, let's be real. You know, I think we all have to have that real conversation of like, that is so far from what we really need and what we should be having, as far as like just for the basic necessities, number one. And then I'm also talking about like, yo, I've been homeless before and it did not happen. It wasn't like, it happened very easily, you know? And I feel like so many of us in this world, and it kind of goes almost, it kind of cross ties a little bit with the conversation me and you had, Nat, a couple of weeks ago. But it's like, when you're making that type of money, when you're making a minimum wage job, or you're making a little far away from that, it's like, that's so easy for that to happen. And I don't think people get it. I don't think people get how close and how easy it is to become homeless. I don't think majority of people think about it, because, and if you really look at the statistics, like I watch Grant Cardone all the time, and you know, the numbers are wild when he says about the people that are living paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, I've been there many times. Sometimes I still go through those moments, right? I keep it very real on here. And it's like, there's a lot of people in the world who are like that, or if not worse. And it's like, damn, like, do we ever realize, like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, what happens if you don't get that paycheck? You're not living?
Right.
So like, Jason, what's your thoughts on that, man? Like, just that topic in general.
First of all, I don't know how people could live on even $15 an hour, even if you've got two people, a husband and wife, both making $15 an hour. I don't know how they could comfortably raise a family on $15 an hour. But I don't think that a majority of minimum wage jobs are designed to raise a family. I mean, I think that they are designed for people in high school, or are going through college, or maybe a spouse that just wants a part-time job because the other spouse is the breadwinner. I think that's what those jobs are designed for. With that said, I think that you've got your Walmarts and your Amazons, and you've got some of these huge companies that their employees are subsidized by the government because they're not even making enough money. They're on benefits because they're not making enough money. And I think that's ridiculous when they're making the kind of profits that they're making. Absolutely. Quarter after quarter after quarter. But I agree with what y'all said in the beginning. Different parts of regions in the country have different needs. It costs a whole lot less to live here than it does in New York or New Jersey or California or Arizona. So people here don't need $15 minimum wage. I know that if they pass a $15 minimum wage, that is going to, for everybody, everything's going to cost more. And so I'm going to have to make more. My company is going to have to pay me more, quite a bit more than what they do right now if they want to keep me. I will find a different place. And I've been with my company for 16 years. But if they don't want to pay me more based on the minimum wage doubling, I'll find something else. I got to make more. If I got to make a lot more if they're going to make a minimum wage $15. We all do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not in favor of a national $15 minimum wage, even though I don't see how people can live on $15. But like I said in the beginning, I don't think it's designed for people to raise families on. I think it gives people incentive to get some kind of, whether it's, hell, I'm a truck driver, go get a CDL, or whatever kind of education you need to do better than whatever the minimum wage is.
Mm-hmm. Right. And see, and it's funny that you brought that point up, because everybody, like, if you take me out the equation, what I do is a luxury. You know what I'm saying, as an entrepreneur. So right. So it's like, if it pops off and it does well, then that's great. But if it doesn't,
the service itself is a luxury. The servicing of it, the performance of it's a luxury at the end of the day. It's not necessary.
Right, it's not necessary. So it's like, the benefit is you get paid doing that. So like the people, if I'm working like a retail job, which I've worked for years, and I used to work at like Victoria's Secret, Barnes and Nobles, Starbucks, and I'm saying to myself, like, the only way for those jobs to work is if they have programs that help you, I guess, get a higher education. Most of the jobs that they don't have any solid programs that help you to get higher education, or they don't really uplift you to get higher positions. They're so fine with just saying you're going to stay in that same position for X amount of years and you're not going to be raised up. There's people in the same position. Right, because people, I see people, as they get older, instead of going up the rankings because of, I guess, like the more time, they'll have someone come from another sector or someone else that's new, and then they'll just be above them automatically. And then sometimes it has to do with college degree. Most time it doesn't. I had a college degree 4 years. That didn't get me anywhere in the rankings at all. They just start you from the bottom. And it always goes to, you got to know someone. So even if you do get a higher education, it doesn't qualify in certain places because they'll start you at the bottom before they even bring you up. So I think there's a certain divide. So I advocate, like, listen, if you like your job, stay with your job, but get a side hustle. That's what I say. Realistically, if you want more money, then I suggest you start thinking about what kind of business that you're gonna do to get your mind off of that one job that you do not like, if they're not providing you with a lot of money.
Yeah,
I'm all for side hustles.
Right.
Yeah, side hustles, doing extra things. And I think that's really where I was trying to shift the conversation, because I agree with you definitely, Jason. Like, first of all, I definitely agree that people should get the 15, but if you are going to do that, that also has to come with everyone else needs a bump. Like, it just you can't give someone that's now making 15 that maybe works for like the DPW or something like that, and then give someone at McDonald's 15. Like, I get that point, and I get that analogy, but it's just like, you can't live, at least in certain locations. At least here, you cannot live like $725. And I get, like how we even said it was made. Those type of jobs were made for the part-time job, the older people, the kids. But it's like,
but the reality is that there's various people working those positions. So we have to deal with the reality that's given to us. So it's like, we need more than what they're giving at the end of the day, and it has to do with, I think what, like, I love everything that's going on, because I agree with all of you guys. Like, truly, there needs to be $15 minimum wage in certain areas, but it also needs to be tied to people actually having the money to spend in these predicaments. Whether you're giving somebody an extra stimulus check, or you're giving, other types of programs, like what Phil said as well, programs that are pretty much like stepping stones, where you can get a certification and then get paid more, like pathways to this. And I think it's a combination effort, between like legislation and actual community work, like feet on the ground kind of work. Because, I think depending too much on one or too much on the other is just, it's going to depend on the community that you're working within. Smaller communities might have a better chance, making something that is a little bit more, how do you say, maybe more in person programs that are going to actually help them in that way, like what Phil said, being able to get paid more. So I definitely agree with what you guys are saying.
Yeah, and
even in your, go ahead.
No. Real quick, right before we got Tay in the building as well. We got our fourth co-host. He just slid in.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, people?
What's up, bro?
Been?
I miss you, bro.
Hey,
now, Jason, he gets a slide too, just like you. You and him get slides, all right? Because he's in North Carolina. So so y'all two get the Zoom slide. The other two, I look at them a little sad. But,
yeah, you can.
But now, real quick, Jay, before we'll also let Tay know what we're talking about. But just my other point to that as well is like it's also like we talk about all these different things and these programs and all this, and even raising the minimum wage and all that stuff. But it's like beyond that, I also want the conversation to go like we have to come up with creative strategies to get more streams.
Yeah,
like
we need a plan, personal plan.
Yeah, personal plans, and also just like have to think a little creatively now. Like, we have the internet. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. When it was just your typical 9 to 5, go to work. That's how you get your money. Now, I think we need to be very multi-dimensional with the money, because it's like, first of all, it's knowing that, okay, $400 a week is just not. Because Tay, that's what really I was getting into is like, the money that we are unfortunately given for our time is just so close to being able to become homeless. It's just not even funny. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, it is what it is. We could do all we want. We could say we want minimum wage. We could say we want jobs being up more. We say we could want more programs. We could do all that, right? But at the end of the day, we got to still worry about. We still have to do what we can until that gets there. So that's just what I want to tell people is like, like you have to shift that mindset and like get creative. You know what I'm saying? Try to come up with something else. Try to maybe learn drop shipping, like use the internet to your advantage. Like me and Tay were on the phone yesterday or the day before for just an hour, just chopping it up, creative ideas to just different things, and it's like, you need to have those conversations, like, because if we think of these numbers of these like $400 a week, $500 a week, and we start thinking about these different numbers and we start getting okay with them, it can really hurt if you, God forbid, get into a car accident, if something happens, if you're sick. Like the fact that if we have to take off 2 weeks of work, most of us are so fucked, it's crazy.
Yes.
So my fault, Jason. I don't know what you were gonna add that before.
I was only going to say that there's so many small businesses that if the minimum wage were increased to $15, they would go out of business. They could not pay $15 an hour and stay in business. Even if they increased their prices, they couldn't increase them enough and be competitive to do it. So I think it would really, really hurt small business if there was a national $15 minimum wage increase.
Yeah, especially if there was nothing to be given to those businesses as a means to fill that gap. There needs to be like at the end of the day, if the federal government is going to step in and do that, they also need a means to realistically fill that gap so that these people are not shut out of luck.
Somehow.
Right.
Absolutely. It's a reality. At the end of the day, the Treasury has the ability to do it, without raising the taxes on regular people like us that pay taxes, So, it's there's a way to do it, and I agree too. And I think too, like, to kind of what Joe said, I think having a personal plan and like budgeting and things like that should be just life skills, right? That are taught even a little bit more in school, and even though we can't depend on them to teach our kids everything that they're supposed to know, because as parents we have to do our job as well, and as adults we have to do our due diligence and seek out that information. But having a plan, having a financial plan, having a budgeting system, knowing how much money you're making, how much money is going out is so important, because the moment you're not counting them dollars, they're flying away. And then when we have these small problems, there are times that we have to look at ourselves like, okay, if I'm making $3,000 a month and this is my expenses, why can't I save money? what's happening that I can't save money if the problem is not that I'm working paycheck to paycheck?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And addressing that problem, I think, as, you know, people.
Word. Tay, what you think on that, man? And welcome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to when you were saying about, you know, people can afford to really have 2 weeks off of work. I've actually experienced that myself, like where I had to take off work and I was out for like a month, and because I wasn't working and wasn't receiving a paycheck, I was fucked when it was time for me to go back. Like once it was time for me to go back to work and really bills start coming in afterwards, it was like I was playing catch up. It took a minute to play catch up. And also, you know, when it comes to people making more money but not really able to notice where that money is going, it's because they're I'm not gonna say illiterate, but it's like they're ignorant when it comes to finances. And I was at one point, and you know, I had to learn because money was coming in, but money was constantly going out. And like Nat said, you have to have that spreadsheet where you have your budget and everything, because when I didn't have that, I was spending money and I was wondering like, hey, where's my money going? You know, I knew money was coming in, but I'm always looking at my account like, okay, I know I just had this amount of money. Now where's this money going? And then, you know, next paycheck come, I make it the next paycheck, but it's like you barely make it the next paycheck when you didn't really have to. And it's like a whole bunch of spending on unnecessary things where you don't really notice because you're just going throughout the day. Those are my thoughts on that. And, you know, I feel like, you know, make a spreadsheet like Nat said and kind of know where your money's going as soon as you get paid, and then budgeting in, you know, your freelance money or money that you can play with.
Yeah. You know, because
people without a budget, doesn't matter how much they make. If they don't have a budget, they are going to spend what they make.
I completely agree.
Right.
Yeah. Also, though, on the other side of it too, though, it's like when I think of that as well, I also think of like, well, if they're only making X, you could budget all you want. There just ain't gonna be enough. There ain't be anything after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think about. I think about that person that's like, you know, you pay the bills and it's like you got a couple bucks left, and it's like, okay, you know, we're all human at the end of the day. So it's like you could say, okay, budget and all that, and it's like it gets to that point of like, I basic things, you know what I'm saying? Like those like little things. It's like some people, like when we talk of those things, like I'm so for it, you know what I mean? The budget and all that. But then it's like there's so many people who are not making enough that it's like, budget what? What am I budgeting?
No, I think I should be clear about that. That if you are somebody who falls below the poverty line, you're absolutely right. If we're talking technical terms, if you fall below the poverty line, wherever that is, depending on what state you're in, you're right. It's a lot. You can't budget your way out of poverty. That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? But I think, you know, to somebody who's making, you know, that you're making a decent amount of money, you know, even if you're working for yourself or you're self-employed, like, you know, what we might do, if you're doing that, you have to budget. You know, if you have a family, like there has to be some type of system in place, you know, that you could say, all right, even if I'm saving $20 a week, if that's even possible, whatever is possible, just to have a little bit of extra, because you don't know when shit can hit the fan. And for Americans, that's every day, you know. So
definitely. And it's like, you know, I want people to try to get into that habit of like adding to, you know, like we always try to subtract, and obviously you got to do that, but it's like also like, how can you add by being smart, you know, so we can get out of that, you know, and how can you multiply certain things, you know, but while working smarter, you know, because it shouldn't always be a super, you know, tight rope, or like, you know, we live in a world that it's like, yo, there's billionaires out here. There, you know, it's like we get into that, you know, we're always told to like hold on to every little thing you got, and it's like, you know, you're scared. You're almost scared with your money. But it's like we got to think about how can we make more and how can we multiply it, how can we scale it. So I think that's, you know, the big thing. Cause it's like, you know, so just those conversations to be had. But I think this was really, really dope. I do want to now. I want to get into Jason, man, because I heard are you working on your getting a life coach certification?
I am.
That's fire, man. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I'm probably about a month away from finishing up my certification for life coach. And, it really just started from people from TikTok, urging me. They wanted to hire me as a life coach. And you can do that without a certification. I mean, there's no governing body over, being a life coach. I mean, you can say anybody can say they're a life coach. But it's better, I mean, if you're certified, so that you can show the certificate. I've been through training, I've been through classes, and, I've learned a little bit. And even with the certification, I think any good life coach will continue to attend classes, seminars, whatever they can to continue to learn. Because, I mean, really the only thing I've ever based anything on in the past has just been off my personal life experiences, watching other people. I mean, I retain information from other people's situations. And, I just started out giving people advice based on how things had gone for me, things that I had done through my life. So the number of people that have followed me in the last year from that advice is unreal. And thousands of people have said, please get your life coach. Please be a life coach. You need to start your life coach certificate or your business. So that's where I'm at. I'm just trying to get to the point of saying that I'm a certified life coach.
Hey, that's what's up, man.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Congrats, man.
And I really tell you this, when this first started on TikTok, I really only wanted to, I've been a single father for 11 years and my son is phenomenal. I mean, he's graduating this year. He's a 4-time state championship football player. He's started college classes after a sophomore year. He's respectful. He's going through HVAC training through the VOTEC while he's in high school. He's just an amazing, amazing kid. And when I found TikTok, I was like, I kind of want to be part of this, but I don't dance or sing, not that funny. What do I really have to offer this community? And I thought, God dang, man, I've done a really good job raising a son. Maybe the advice that I've given him, the direction I've given him growing up could be beneficial to, I mean, there's a lot of kids on TikTok, a lot of younger people on TikTok. So I just started I would start every video, advice I gave my son. And then I would give a little lesson that I gave my son. And then it evolved into relationship stuff and trades and education. And it's mushroomed into this huge thing now. But it really was just about my son in the beginning.
That's fire. You say he's 11 years old?
No, he's 17. No. He'll be 18 next month. I've been a single father since he was 7. So what was that? 11 years? 7?
Wow.
9 years? It's been 11, 10, whatever it is. 10 years.
That's awesome.
Oh, no, Zane. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's really awesome that you pulled inspiration to do it, because like the reason why like some of the stuff that I used to like, my photography changed because I did less of what society wanted and more of what I wanted to show to the world, and that completely changed the way kind of people view the work. And there's more appreciation when it comes from the heart, opposed to just doing what's trending.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, so that's really dope that you kind of brought that out, regardless, because you could either go either way when it comes to like TikTok or any social media platform, and it's great that you did that from the start.
Yeah, occasionally I will drop. I mean, I'm a truck driver. I mean, I probably cuss more than you guys do, but when it comes to my videos that I put out for the kids, I mean, I every time I make a video, I think, there could be an 8-year-old watching this. I don't know. And I know it's not my job to govern what they watch, but still, I don't want to be the guy that puts out, I mean, there's some pretty nasty, filthy stuff on TikTok, I mean, there really is. And I just don't want to be the guy putting it out there. I may enjoy some of it and think that it's funny or think that it's whatever, but I don't want to be the guy that's putting that content out there.
Yep.
Like adding to the flames.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you when you were like giving, because you said you basically took the things that you were giving your kid advice on and just, you know, just talking to him really, you know, like, and then you started doing that on TikTok. What was like your kid's reaction to that? Was, you know, or even when you were giving him the advice in the early stages, was he very receptive to it? Like he was like, okay, like I hear you out, or was he like, would he hear it but maybe not acknowledge it, and you would see that he acknowledged it years later? How did that work?
He always acknowledged what I had to say. Sometimes conversations would be a little uncomfortable for him because, I mean, I started talking to him about sex when he was like 10 years old. Just, you know, here's the deal, man. I mean, at some point this is going to happen. And I mean, I gave him the safe sex talk. I would prefer that you wait, you know, till you're an adult, maybe even married, but definitely until you're adult. But if it happens, you know, if you make that decision, then this is, you know, this is what you got to do. And I'd have that talk with him over and over. He was always receptive to pretty much everything I said. And when I divorced his mom, I took him to dinner. He was 7. And I said, look, son, I'm going to tell you right now, over the next several years, I am going to tell you, you know, things that you're not going to like. And I'm going to let you do things, or I'm not going to let you do things that you're really going to want to do. And you're not going to understand, but I need you to hear me. I'm telling you now, no matter what I do, I'm looking out for your best interest. So even when you don't agree, even when you don't understand, I need you to know I'm looking out for you and it's for your best interest. And at least a dozen times over the years, he would get a little irritated and say, Dad, I don't really get this. I don't understand why you're doing this. But you told me that it was for my best interest. I trust you. I believe in you. And I'm just going to go along with it. So, I mean, I just had a really, really good, I've talked to my son every day, his whole life. I mean, I just have a really good, solid relationship with him.
Yeah, that's solid. Is that you have a good transparency. That's kind of like how I see Nat with Mel. And it's like a great relationship that they have when it's like, because I'm seeing it from a child growing up, and I'm like, wow, like that constant talking and then guiding and whatnot, like that's the type of stuff that kids remember. They might not say it, but then when they realize their actions was based on like their upbringing, like, oh, okay. Now that makes sense because my mom used to do this, or my dad used to do this. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that that's so wonderful that you made highlights of just these things, especially as a parent. I totally empathize with that, you know, because I agree. I always wonder, you know, and in your case, your son is a lot older, you know, and especially I'm sure it's a lot more fun when they're a little bit older as well, because you can have those, it gets even deeper. You know what I'm saying? You think you're having a heart-to-heart with a 5-year-old, wait till you're 10. Wait till you're 20. You know what I'm saying? Wait till you're 30 years old talking to your 60-year-old mother about what her life was like when she was your age. And really taking in those stories and you know, learning from our experiences. And I love that you know, you expressed that. So I actually have a question, because I'm curious to know how or where do you feel like your perspective may have changed from beginning your journey like on TikTok and doing those kind of videos to like where you are now with it, and what you might have learned, like what your biggest lesson might have been, or what you feel like has changed in you since doing those things?
I think for me, the biggest change has been that, again, in the beginning, I didn't really expect to build a large following. I mean, I hoped that people would hear my videos, and I wanted to make a difference, but I never expected, I mean, if I got 10,000 followers, I was going to be pretty excited, you know, about that. So the fact that it has grown as much as it has, and I get so many messages from people that thanking me for helping them, thanking me for, you know, I was going to kill myself and I didn't because of a video that you put out. My relationship with my kids are so much better now, after watching your videos and following your guidance, my relationship with my parents, I haven't talked to my parents in 5 years, but because of your video, I reached out to my parents and I now have a relationship with my parents again. The stories just go on and on. So with that many messages coming in to me from that many people, it has given me this sense that I'm in the wrong profession. I should not be a truck driver. I should be a life coach, which is what I'm trying to do. And on a larger scale, I believe that I connect with people. They connect with me and they hear what I say. And I can't believe the number of people that put it into action. The things that I say, they put it into action and they become fruitful from, because I could talk to people all day, but if those people don't take it and put it into action, so there's a tremendous amount of credit to those people that do send me the message and say, I did this. And it was because I said it, but they did it. And so it has been taken over my life. Where in the beginning it was really a hobby. It was just something I wanted to do. I live it now. I breathe it. It's this whole idea of trying to help people. Hell, I've even got this grand idea in my head that I want to acquire land and start a summer camp for kids that don't have a mom or don't have a dad, so they can get that, kids that don't have a mom. There will be women that volunteer that they teach these kids things that a mother would teach their children or should teach their children. And kids that don't have a dad, there's going to be men that will teach these kids things that a dad should teach their kids, but they don't have that at home. They don't have a dad to teach them this stuff, how to tie a tie, how to change oil, all that kind of stuff. So I really, really want to give back to the world. And I think TikTok has pushed me more so to want to do that.
That's powerful.
I'm for it, man.
Hell yeah, man.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever see yourself doing this? Like,
never.
Isn't it crazy, man, that life works? Like, you probably look now and you're like, do you believe everything in your life happened for this moment, for this, so you could be able to do this?
It could be. It could be. And here's the thing. I've been married 3 times. Okay. I divorced all 3 of my wives for various reasons. I wasn't very smart when I didn't think things through the way I do as I've gotten older. And I married a couple of women out of obligation. And so when I first started and I made the comment on TikTok, I'd been married 3 times, and somebody commented back and said, "You've been married 3 times and you think that you're suitable to give your son marriage advice?" I was like, absolutely. I am suitable. I've been there. I've done it. I've made mistakes. So if you have somebody that's addicted to drugs, do you want somebody that's trying to help them get off of drugs that's never used a drug? Or do you want somebody who has been a drug addict and gone through all the BS that a druggie goes through? That's the guy you want helping them. They understand what they're going through. So maybe the mistakes that I've made through my life, all the things that I've done did lead me to this point where I've been there and I've done it and I've seen things and I've made a ton of mistakes. And I always say that I'm teaching you based off mistakes that I've made, and I've learned from my mistakes. So maybe you're right. Maybe that is it.
I definitely think so, man. And that's so powerful. Like, that's a big reason to why, we have this therapy without a degree, because it's like, I feel like we've all individually, we all have walked different lives and we've all been through a lot, and we've all have a pretty good perspective on the things that we do go through. And
right.
I wanted that, you know what I'm saying? I wanted that, exactly what you said. There needed to be a platform for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There needed that. Like, people, we need you. To someone that you said that has gone through, because the person that said that about the marriages, they were completely wrong.
Right.
You've been there. You've been through the trials and the tribulations. You've gone through the trial and error. You've we call it the throwback failure thing. Like, what's something that you learned? What's something that you failed at and you learn from it? So it's like you learn every single time. So for you, those little trial and errors, it's just life. You overcame and you got up from them, And you still are, as we still all are in our adversity. But it's the people who get up every single time and that's able to say, you know what, I went through that. I learned from it. This is what I learned. Y'all could take it or leave it. That's so powerful.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, and I agree with Joe too. Like, especially, you know, it doesn't matter how many relationships you've been in. Most times you have a separation, you learn more about yourself than anything. And that is some good advice to speak of, what you learn about yourself, you know, because that's the most important thing. We can't change what other people want or need or desire in life, but we can control ourselves, you know, and in that respect, it's like, you know, we have to also have the ability to reflect on those experiences. So that's wonderful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Zoom got us less than a minute, so we do gotta run. Yeah, it's they be hating. I'm telling you. So yo, Jay, man, hopefully we get you in person. If not, we got to do a part 2 like real soon. If you ever drive a truck in Jersey, let us know. If not, I'm gonna definitely hit you so we can schedule a part 2 because there's so many more things that I want to ask you, and I know Tay wants to ask you, and Nat wants to ask you. Like I know there's more here, man. So we definitely got to do this again if y'all all down.
I would love to. I appreciate you having me.
Word,
yeah,
guys.
man. Thank you for coming through, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoyed all of you.
Word.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. But another episode, Therapy Without a Degree. No shout outs this week because they're going to close us out any second. Sorry, y'all. We will see you next week.
All right. Peace.
Deuces.